Listeners beware, you're in for a scare.
Long ago, when the Goosebumps books were still young, R.L. Stine wrote a book of great and terrible power. But these Goosebumps books erupted into war that threatened to destroy the entire world, until a brave and powerful group of podcasters talked the power away, and now, 20 years later, it's returned. Yu-Gi-Oh! Hey guys, welcome to Nightmare on Fear Street. I am your host, Zack.
I'm your host, Meg.
Should I introduce myself?
And joining us this week, a very unfortunate associate of us, is B.
Hey, everybody. It's me. One half of Unfortunate Associates. I just realized this is the first time I'm ever podcasting without Tyler as, like, my podcasting wingman.
Oh, no. It's sometimes like the birds need to fly out of the nest.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Yep.
Just, make him tear up. They grow up so fast.
But yeah, no, when I came up with this opening, I was like, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I had the ding moment and I had to write this down.
Yeah, you seemed really excited about it.
You dreamt it and then you woke up in a cold sweat and you had to write it down.
You woke up and you're like, what? Yu-Gi? I don't understand.
No, because I have Yu-Gi-Oh cards in my room. And it was like, wait a second.
I'm not going to pretend to be surprised.
So this week, guys, we read The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. B, how was your spooky week?
My spooky week was great.
What'd you do?
I didn't do a lot. I celebrated my partner's dad's birthday. We ate a lot of cake. It was a good time. I got to pet dogs. That was a good thing. I'm applying to jobs. Got a new therapist. And I'm recording with you guys. So it's a busy week.
So B, what type of podcast do you do? Because both me and Meg have been on it.
Yeah, you both have. Yeah, it's sort of, I feel like you guys are like the sort of sister podcast family to us in a lot of ways. It's sort of like a little...
I think Unfortunate Events inspired this a little bit because Goosebumps was sort of, for Zack and me, Goosebumps was sort of the other book series.
Yeah. I think we ended up me and Meg actually started talking because we met each other through you guys.
Oh yeah.
So it's sort of, you're like our babies.
Thanks, Tyler and B.
I feel like I'm giving myself too much credit.
You're like, you grew up so fast.
Yeah, it's true. It's just an endless cycle of grow up so fast, basically.
So what type of podcast do you do?
Yeah, we talk about Lemony Snicket stuff, do book recaps, talk about the Netflix series. We interviewed Daniel Handler, aka Lemony Snicket, if you have no idea who the heck Daniel Handler is, because a lot of people...
I thought he was just his representative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Way to disillusion all our child listeners.
You'd be surprised how not impressed people will be when you say you've interviewed Lemony Snicket, because it's kind of like saying you interviewed, like, Santa Claus or something.
Or a ghost.
They're like, what do you mean you interviewed Lemony? Like, that's like a fictional...
Sure you did.
And then you say you interviewed Daniel Handler, and they're like, who is that man?
Yeah.
And then you show a picture of, like, this is Lemony Snicket, and they're just like, huh? What?
Exactly. So it's, that's the kind of deal. Right now we're doing a very gradual read through of the All the Wrong Questions series in the sort of lull between the Netflix seasons. We're trying to maybe get a few connections going in terms of like other Netflix guests that we might be getting. I don't know how that's going to pan out. NPH, I'm looking at you. You need to answer our emails. Thank you.
So, Meg, how was your spooky week?
My spooky week was not very spooky at all because yesterday I went to ride and picked up my newest baby possum.
You mean the one that I want to steal now?
Wait, you have a baby possum?
Yeah. Cannot believe that I never mentioned this when I was on Unfortunate Associates, but I am a volunteer animal carer.
Oh my god.
There's no, like, standardized animal control that the council runs in Sydney that I know of. So it's all up to Wires and Sydney Wildlife, which are two organizations. I'm in Sydney Wildlife. Basically, we take injured orphaned and sick and misplaced wildlife, nurse them back to health, put them back.
Huh.
And so right now I've got a baby possum. She's a little ringtail, and I call her Nugget because she's kind of, little baby ringtails are very small.
You call her
little
Nugget?
nuggets,
Is that
basically.
okay? Nugget. Okay.
Yes.
That Nug
Oh,
life.
I love her. And yeah.
It's so cute.
I didn't choose the Nug life. The Nug life chose me.
If I'm not mistaken, your idea of a possum is different than, like, the American idea of possums.
Although, interesting fact, the possums here are named after the possums in
they were
America.
like, that looks like a possum.
Possum is an Algonquin word.
Yeah, because they were just like, oh, that's close to a possum, so, yeah.
That's close to that. That's the closest thing we have here.
They were like, you're
to
Indians.
that horrible rat animal.
Or it's kind of like you look at a scorpion. Yep, that's a nightmare lobster.
Well, we could talk about scorpions, actually. That's kind of relevant.
Yeah.
If you want to see a picture of what Nugget looks like, I tweeted a picture of her crawling on my copy of Curse of the Mummies,
That's
too.
pretty cute. That's much cuter than this book. Let's put it that way.
It's our mascot now. She's our mascot now. Anyway, Zach, how was your spooky week?
Well, we got through an interesting interview that will be coming out very, very soon. Lots of tricks and treats. Other than that, I've been rereading the entire works of Ray Bradbury, so that's something that's happening in my life.
Ooh.
Other than that, I read this book this week, and I did not have a brain aneurysm.
It wasn't that bad.
I just woke up in the middle of a field covered in blood, and I was just like, what happened? I was just reading this book.
The Undead Express broke you to the point that you just have no memory.
It's kind of like in Call of Cthulhu, where everyone just goes mad, and then they just stop being mad. They're just like, oh, what happened?
I'm just imagining, like, you open this book, and you try and read it, but the words, like, morph into the words from Undead Express, and you're like, no, it's happening again! It found me!
That's the curse. That's actually the Mummy's curse, is that every book...
That is the Mummy's curse.
Every book you open is going to be that book. No matter what.
See, I try to jump out of a window, and my window just turns into the copy of the book. I'm just like, there's no way out.
Oh
no
my god,
escape.
there's no way out.
And then my dad comes in the room. Zach, I am J.R. Black.
Oh my god. See, that would be
You're killing me, Zach.
a more scary idea than the mummies in this book. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I don't think
is.
the mummies are the most threatening thing that are
I am
presented.
gonna level with you guys. The Mummy is my least favorite of the Universal monsters.
Really? I mean, what is okay? How about this,
I
guys?
kind of agree. I'm a little bored by the idea of mummies.
What is everyone's favorite mummy movie or version of the Mummy? Because mummies are weird things.
I mean, I guess like the Brendan Fraser movie is the only frame of reference
Surprisingly,
I
that's
have.
the very first horror movie I saw in theaters that I vividly remember.
Would you call that a horror movie, though? I think of it more as
Yeah, I can call it a horror movie. The part where the guy turns around, he has no tongue and eyes, and you see it all.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, I've always thought of it as an adventure film with horror elements.
Do you know what the best mummy movie is? The Disney Channel original movie Under Wraps.
Oh my god, I was gonna mention that!
No, I was gonna say Tuttenstein, but I mean, that's another one too.
You watched Tuttenstein?
Yeah, I watched Tuttenstein.
Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about it then, because I didn't like it.
Oh, it's okay. No, you can badmouth it, because I know that there's a lot of things that people find unlikable about Tuttenstein.
I didn't really get it. It seemed like it felt very like Cyber Chase or something, like one of those shows that tries really hard to teach you things, but in the end, like, the plot is weird, and you're just like, you're very obviously just trying to make me learn against my will.
But when I was watching it, I wasn't, like, trying to learn anything. I was just watching it because it came on at a time when I was watching TV.
Yeah. It was always, like, on, like, HBO Family when I wanted to watch another show.
It's weird because for the weird, like, mid-2000s, they had, like, this huge explosion again of, like, Egyptian stuff because there was Yu-Gi-Oh!, there was Tuttenstein, there was the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies. And it just...
What was that? Do you feel like there's, like, always going to be a mummy episode of every, like, kids TV show? There's always, like, an episode where they go to Egypt or they go to a museum and, like, see a mummy. Like, I don't know what it is.
Desecrate this grave of dead people. Yeah. Good show.
Like, there's always, like, a body swap video, like a body swap episode. There's always an Egypt video. There's always, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
ironically, there also is a body swap episode of Tuttenstein.
Which is like basically, the most early 2000s thing you could ever do.
Yeah.
Is have a body swap.
Peak 2003. So anyway, let's talk about the cover.
Oh,
Yes.
the cover.
I don't have the original Tim Jacobus cover for this one, unfortunately.
Neither. Haha, you've come down to my level, Zach.
Oh, this isn't even my final form, Meg.
So I read a PDF, and the cover that I have is the one where it's like a mummy with glowing red eyes, and there's sort of like gloopy green stuff around him, and there's like a circular stone thing happening. I don't exactly know what that's supposed to be.
That's the original cover. That's the original cover.
Okay.
You've got the original cover. Good. I kind of like this one because the Tim Jacobus one, the mummy's just kind of hanging out. He's just sitting there. But this one, he's coming at you.
Like, he has, like, the weird thing that I kept noticing about this cover is his eye. Like, his one eye looks like the eye of Sauron.
It does.
It's the mummy version of the eye of Sauron, see?
That's, like, not a very good mummy. That's, like, it doesn't really look like a person. Like, or that it even used to be a person. But, like, his mouth isn't even, like, the right place, really. It's just, like, a bad proportion.
Yeah. He's just getting ready to decompose himself and become a real person.
Yeah. Okay, but either way, I feel like the title... I guess maybe not the title, because it's, like, The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. It's not anything about the specific mummies. But, like, the cover indicates an idea of a book that I didn't receive. I expected a lot more cool, like, chases down, like, narrow passageways with mummies chasing them. That is not what happened, and I was a little bit disappointed about that.
This book is kind of a store fest, just a little bit.
Well, this kid is kind of a wimp, and he complains about it all the time.
So, seeing how B is actually our first guest to help us introduce an episode, B, take it away. What is this book about?
What is this book about?
How's it open?
There's a kid named Gabe, and he's on vacation in Egypt. He's really thirsty. He's an incredibly thirsty boy.
Well, okay, can you read the first line of this book so people know that we're not lying?
I saw the Great Pyramid and got thirsty. Maybe it was all the sand so dry and yellow it seemed to stretch on forever. It even made the sky look dry.
Thirst has no curfew. This is not like, I'm surprised they kept that in this version of Goosebumps.
I imagine R.L. Stine being like, oh, I know how to in media arrest this. I know exactly what to do.
I know what the kiddie's like.
Yeah.
This very thirsty boy in the middle of the friggin' desert. Like, what do you...
Do you know what doesn't make sense about this first chapter to me?
What?
Gabe spends a lot of time telling his parents, Mom, I'm thirsty. Dad, I want to go get a drink. And the parents are like, we didn't come here to get a drink. We came here to look at the pyramid. It's good. The pyramid right in front of you, and you're not looking at it. You just want a drink. They're in the desert. Why wouldn't they have brought drinks with them?
Okay, I see what R.L. Stine is doing. And it's like the typical, like, children's author deal where they're like, aren't parents the worst? They never listen. Yeah. See, you're just thirsty and you're trying not to be mean, but your parents, they forced you to come on this trip and they're not going to let you have water. They're terrible. They're abusive almost.
Is this a PSA to feed your children water before they die in a heart car?
It's just like, I feel like that happens a lot. It's like very like, I don't know, kids rule rhetoric that happens in children's books that are just like, parents are the worst. Aren't they the worst?
The pre-information age version of, but you're always on that damn phone.
Yeah, it's like, you're always asking for water. What is with this kid always asking for water? It's like,
they turn around and he's just dead.
Yeah.
Because doesn't he say that his tongue swells up like a salami?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Okay, that means that he's literally dying of thirst. Like, your body starts to swell up when you don't have water in you.
Yeah, he had a very, like, weird description that he said, my tongue was hanging down to the floor like Elvis's.
Elvis is the dog. They should have introduced the dog first. Because to introduce the dog as the catalyst to be like, oh, my tongue was hanging like Elvis, I, took forever to absorb what he was talking about until I read a sentence later. I was like, is that a dance Elvis did? Or at least give your dog, a dog name. It's like, my tongue was hanging out like Elvis Rufus.
Is a dog name.
I know, but like
more of a dog name that's not also a famous person's
He didn't already
name.
Explain that it was a dog, Skippy. So just, you're stuck on that word.
Yeah.
Elvis is dying, give him some water.
Oh my god. He comes home, his dog has died of thirst. Because they just didn't leave water out.
Yeah, they're like psychically linked.
That's the that's the thought he immediately goes to when his parents get the phone call, by the way, is that something bad happened to his dog. So I'm just thinking, like, maybe his parents are just bad at taking care of anything?
Yeah. Gabe just has The Shining.
He does. The dog Shining.
I think in general, the adults in this book are, like, terrible. Not the best.
These are the worst adults we've met yet on this show.
They're literally, they all just are like, I'm gonna just leave you.
Yeah.
In this hotel. So he literally describes it. He's like shocked that they leave him in the hotel.
So Gabe's parents are awful people, and they go to the hotel room after, he finally gets some classic Coke instead of that old new Coke formula.
You could tell that was like the most 90s moment in this book.
That dated it so specifically.
No, that's not even what dated it. It was when Gabe was playing the Game Boy.
The Game Boy? Yeah, the Game Boy. I guess, and like he kept talking about Nintendo too also.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he was trying really hard to like be #relatable.
Gabe's parents get a phone call in the hotel room that they're staying at, and that they have a huge business client that wants to see them in Alexandria, which...
What do they sell again? I feel like they sell carpets, but maybe I'm just inventing that. Refrigerators.
They set up refrigerator systems. So, like, cold rooms, air conditioning, I guess?
Yeah, usually refrigerators, things that hold, water in them.
Yeah. What do you keep in your refrigerator?
Sand. I tried so hard not to make a Star Wars joke today. I hate sand. It gets everywhere. It's rough and coarse.
Oh my god. You really held out for a long time, though, to be fair.
It's hard.
I was waiting for him to say it.
I had the high ground.
I was waiting for him to say it because I knew.
Oh, you kind of have to. It's like...
Yeah.
It's obligatory.
I'm allowed to say one Star Wars joke an episode.
Anyway, the other thing that is kind of cool to notice about this book is this is the first one that has had a canonically non-white main character. Yeah, because his parents are both Egyptian, the children of Egyptian immigrants, and his last name is Hassan, ethnically Egyptian. I said non-white.
You said non-white. Okay, I thought you said non-liked because he's always talking about how like no one's his friend.
No,
and I was like,
the first non-liked Goosebumps protagonist is Evan from Monster Blood.
Is every Goosebumps protagonist? Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's pretty tolerable. He's a little annoying, but yeah.
Yeah.
This is like also the first time we get into a first-person perspective of a Goosebumps kid.
I have to say that writing is a little weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read Game of Thrones. I've read Samwell's perspective, and Gabe's quite mild.
It's just, I don't know. There's something about it, like, being from the perspective of a kid that just doesn't seem consistent to me, because, like, sometimes he's talking about how he's not smart, and then other times he describes things in a way that's, like, way too complicated for a 12-year-old, and I'm trying to, like, think, like, okay, he's telling this from the past tense, so, like, he knows everything that's gonna happen, but is this him as an adult, like, reflecting about that one weird time he summoned a bunch of mummies, like, when he was a kid, like, and I still look back with wonder. Remember that crazy... I was going to say summer, but then I remembered that it was Christmas break.
I love that the first chapter ends with the line, "Little did I know that in a few days, Mom and Dad would be gone and I would be deep inside the pyramid we were staring at. Not just inside it, but trapped inside it, sealed inside it. Probably forever." I just love that. Probably forever. I don't know. It's not like it happened to me.
That's the confusing thing, is like he seems to be omniscient and like understand what happened already. So why does he say probably? Like, is that what he was thinking at the time? There's just like certain things that don't make total sense. And like he canonically says like his dad is always asking him questions whenever they go on trips and he doesn't know. And then like a few chapters later, he's like an Egypt expert and he's talking to his cousin who like supposedly like knows nothing about like mummification, even though her dad is like a mummy scientist. Like, I don't...
It's kind of like, my dad's a mechanic, and I don't know a thing about cars.
I guess that's true.
My dad's in mining, and I don't know anything about rocks.
Wait, your dad's in mining? That's so cool!
Yeah. My dad's a fireman, or used to be, and I definitely don't know how to go into burning buildings. That's not...
Oh, wow.
That's definitely
so your dad's
not...
a volunteer firefighter?
No, he was not volunteer, but yeah, firefighter.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
oh,
sorry.
Man.
Yeah, he actually judged volunteer firemen because he was like, oh, they're not like real firemen.
They're just part of some secret organization. I'll tell you about it later when we're older.
Yeah, I know. If nothing's out there, then what was that noise?
Young lady, have you been good to your mother? Well, the question is, has she been good to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
We shouldn't be allowed to talk to each other. We're too insufferable.
Yeah, we're just gonna, like, this whole episode's gonna devolve into, like, obscure references to things. So the parents leave to go to Alexandria, leaving Gabe alone in the hotel room, and this is when they establish that he keeps a mummy disembodied mummy hand in his pocket at all times. He got it from a garage sale!
Can I just say, how hard would it have been for them to write a scene where the kid goes to the gift shop or something, meets a weird guy who gives him a mummy hand, and he gets it in Egypt? Like, I feel like that would have been an easy scene to write. Instead, he gets it at a garage sale from some kid. That's like, what? Where did
the other kid get it?
What are the odds of that happening? He's from Egypt.
B, you want to know something? I'll give you a little secret. Bad storytelling.
It's really bad. Like, it's just crazy to me that he would...
Yeah.
Like, he's from Egypt. His uncle is an Egyptologist, like, mummy expert. And you couldn't find a way for him to get a mummy hand other than a garage sale?
Exactly.
When have you ever been to a garage sale and seen a mummy hand? How the heck did a mummy hand get to America in somebody's garage? That doesn't make any sense.
See, what I think could have happened as well is that Uncle Ben could have just given him like a knick-knack type of gift.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many ways they could have written it in.
Is a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, they picked the worst way to find a mummy hand and the most unreasonable way to find a mummy hand.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Mummy hands are anywhere but a garage sale in America. Like,
so, yeah, speaking of mummies and Uncle Ben then shows up at the hotel room dressed up as a mummy.
This guy's a jerk. Can I just say?
He's a jerk. I mean,
first and foremost, this guy's like the biggest jerk.
First thing he does is he talks about how, great power comes great responsibility.
Okay, I was waiting for the Spider-Man situation. Yeah. And then he brought a giant pot of rice out.
Okay, guys. What? I know we talked about this off mic, but the listeners need to know. Okay, last Goosebumps book that we read was Say Cheese and Die, with the main characters Greg and Shari, and this is Curse of the Mummies 2, with the main characters Gabe and Sorry.
He didn't put effort. He just... I don't know.
R.L. Stine was very busy that week. He just couldn't think of any names, and the first thing that popped in his head just made the most sense.
Yeah.
I feel like he was too, impressed with himself with, the little twist he did, where it's like, the mummies aren't the villain. Ha. I'm a very clever person.
As he smokes a bubble pipe.
As he smoked a bubble pipe. He just strokes his chin like, I'm a genius.
Yes. He's at his typewriter, and he just looks up, and he's like, my God, RL, you've done it again.
He just calls to his wife, and he's like, I've got it.
No. It's more like he's sweating. He's reaching this deadline. And he's like, I don't know what to do with this stupid mummy story. Why not just make them the villain? Oh my God, I got it.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, the street like Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka.
Waving his manuscript in the air.
Take it to Stein and run straight home. Don't talk to anyone.
I'm really tired of the fake outs that happen in this book. There's so many moments where you think that the mummies are going to come alive, and then it's some jerk playing a prank, or it's literally twice it's a prank with his terrible relatives.
Yeah, because then my favorite thing though is I kept thinking that Uncle Ben was basically The Rock.
Yep, I see it.
They describe him basically as The Rock. He's a big beefy Indiana Jones type of person. The Rock in the new Jumanji movie is what I thought of. And I'm sad that I could put those two images in my head because I don't want to see that new Jumanji movie.
Oh, man. Now I want this just to be made into a movie just so we can have The Rock play this guy.
Yeah.
That would be worth it.
Rock the Mummy Johnson.
Maybe. You never know. They're making Goosebumps too.
Wait.
Let him make his pun.
The Rock was in The Mummy. He was a Scorpion King.
Oh!
Scorpions are in this. It's all connected, you guys.
King. He was, wasn't he?
Yep, that was the first time he was ever in a movie. He was the Scorpion King. So now that the Scorpion King is hanging out with Gabe, he's like, you guys want to come to the pyramids with me? It's really cool. A lot of dead people.
There's many tunnels. You can get lost in there forever.
Gabe's like, what? I can get lost in there forever? Radical.
Basically, everybody in the story is a jerk except for Gabe, who's just a wimp. That's generally how I feel.
Sari's the biggest jerk in this book.
I dislike her so much. So much of this could have been avoided if it weren't for her. If they stayed at the hotel, I don't think this dude would have been able to find... Okay, actually, hold on a second.
No, if they didn't find him, Ahmed would murder the shit out of Gabe's.
Who's the spooky dude that they meet with the ponytail? Ahmed. Okay, first of all, immediately they don't even want to pull punches. They're like, this guy's spooky. Like he has a ponytail and it's like slick back. Like, I don't know. Like, you could have tried a little harder to conceal who your villain is. You didn't even try.
Well, I felt like he also is the type of person that has the ponytail and he would just wear sandals with socks all day.
And then the sand gets into the socks. And it would just such a bad time.
That'd be unpractical.
And that's why he's so mad all the time. It's the sand in the socks.
He's been trying to buy a pair of Crocs the longest time, but they just don't ship to Egypt.
Nor should they.
So they go down into the pyramids and nothing happens. They literally just walk around until a mummy pops out. Oh, wait, that was Sari.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess nothing happens in the sense that nothing actually magical happens, but they do run away, and the dad/uncle. I don't know how to refer to him when I'm speaking
Uncle
about
Dad.
both. Yeah, Uncle Dad. Uncle Grandpa. I don't get why he gets so mad at them for running away when he clearly has, like, the worst, crappiest child in the world who's always running away. And he's like, I expected you not to, like, disappear like that. It's, like, I don't know. She's established herself as, like, a terrible child who's always misbehaving.
She's the type of girl that probably needs, like, a child leash. Like, he just holds it all the time.
Or those
But then he brings them down into a pyramid and then just, like, gets distracted and doesn't have anybody watch them and then is mad when they run away. And it's just like, I wonder whose fault this is. This mild-mannered child who obviously can't even keep his shoes tied, or his horrible, like, daughter who's constantly playing pranks on people. Like, I don't...
Well, I mean, I think isn't, like, this is also the first Goosebumps book where, like, Sari's mom is dead.
What?
Or not talked about. Yeah, because they don't talk about her mom, so I'm just going to assume she's dead.
Oh, I guess so. Is she a mummy? Oh my god. She's a mummy, you guys.
Oh.
My mum, that's like Billy and Mandy. My mummy's a mummy.
Yeah, just like Erwin and Billy and Mandy.
I love that. Oh, and Billy and Mandy had mummies in it too.
Yeah, and Erwin's mom was a mummy. Yeah. So, I just wanted to point out that one of my favorite Goosebumps tropes makes a reappearance here, which is somebody saying chills and thrills, ironically.
Yeah, I have that written down in my notes.
Yeah.
Wait, when did they say chills and thrills?
Yeah, I'm gonna read I'll read this. I have an appointment at the Cairo Museum, he told us, glancing at his wristwatch. It's just a couple of blocks away. I thought you two might like to wander around the museum while I have my meeting. Ooh, chills and thrills, Sari said sarcastically. Yeah. That's something that happens in, like, a lot of Goosebumps books where one character will say something really boring and then another one will be like, chills and thrills, huh?
Oh my god.
Yeah, radical. Maximum coolness, bro.
The weirdest thing is, like, how many times he writes in bad jokes just to acknowledge that they're bad jokes, where, like, Sari keeps, like, making, like, jokes to Gabe. I forget, like, I'm trying to remember, like, the, like, really terrible ones where it's like, like, the mummy pun, like, that I literally just did, so I shouldn't even complain. But where she's just like, oh, you miss your mummy? And it's just like, immediately after he's like, that was a terrible pun, her idea of a joke.
Oh, what was it then? So they get locked up into the hotel room because Uncle Dad is just like, you guys have to stay here. I have to go to the hospital because 2 of our workers are spooked.
No, they got sick.
They're like petrified like in Harry Potter, basically.
Petrified like in Harry Potter. Yeah. But the weird thing though is Sari has to get Gabe down to the lobby because they want to go to the museum, which is 2 blocks away. And they do the Back to the Future thing of, like, what are you, chicken? And that's what just gets Gabe to go down because I guess...
Why does he care what she thinks? She's terrible. Okay. One other thing that creeped me out a little bit is, like, am I reading too into this? Or, like, they seem weirdly flirtatious with each other to be, like, related? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because they, like, don't like each other, so it's, like, the negging thing, but...
Wait, yeah, no, there's a part in this. Let me see. I think I have it written down.
Yeah, she's...
Where they talk about how hot she is.
Yeah, he's like, she was pretty, and she knew it. It's like, you think your cousin's pretty? That's weird, buddy.
That is weird.
That's weird. like, I don't think about my cousin's physical forms at all. They're just relatives I have.
That's sort of the dynamic. Whenever there's a female and a male Goosebumps protagonist, which there usually always is, there's always a little bit of, like, that sort of thing, and it gets weird when you get into the ones where they're, like, cousins or siblings.
Like, okay, I don't know. Like, obviously, it's not like they're trying to get at that, but just their dynamic is a little weird.
Well, I think it just was how it was written, but I think maybe it was just bad writing.
I think it was bad writing. Like, they were trying to be like, oh, like, she teases him, but in the end, they're still friends. But it's sort of like, oh, like, they both have, like, a weird admiration for each other, and that's why they tease each other. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of creepy. It's the pretty thing. It's when he says that she's pretty and knows it. It's like, how would a 12-year-old boy even acknowledge that? That's not something a 12-year-old boy would say about his cousin.
Yeah.
Like,
talk to me when you start growing a beard.
So, this Ahmed guy
is spoopy as heck.
Oh no, they go to the museum first, and they start seeing a bunch of dead people, and they're just like, ew, this is cool. And what was it? Oh, I went to this exhibit, like the True Mummy exhibit, and I don't remember, it was in LA, and they had a bunch of mummies from all over the world, including Egyptian mummies, because they had them in their sarcophaguses.
Yeah, I was at the British. I was in the British Museum a few months ago, and they had a couple mummies. They don't have King Tut anymore. I think King Tut's been returned, but.
Oh, I hope so, seeing how they broke him the first time.
Yeah, I think he's back in Egypt, but they had another one.
The coolest, though, were like, the bog zombies that they have.
Oh,
so,
the
like,
bog mummies, yes.
Bog zombies?
Bog mummies are the
They used to do this thing in, like, Celtic cultures. They used to throw people into the bog.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Because the peat bogs, like, preserve them in a weird way.
Disgusting.
Did you guys have to read about, like, the Iceman when you were kids? I don't even know exactly where he was found. Was it, I want to say Iceland, but I have no idea. Maybe Greenland or something like that. And he was just, like,
it was in the Alps.
Like, mountains, and some hikers were like, that looks like a body.
Same as with, there's a Native American woman that froze to death, and she's really well preserved.
I feel like it's, I don't know, you learn about that really young. I remember having to read an article about that, like, in 2nd grade, where they're like, here's a spooky body.
So there's a really cool mummification where, so water will get into your coffin, and you'll start doing the process of becoming a fossil.
Oh my god.
But it's like, rapid fossilization, and it's really creepy, it's really cool, but you basically are turned into a rock.
You guys, I want to be a fossil. This is my will and testament. I want to be a fossil.
Your will and testament? Okay. This is legally binding.
They're gonna have to, like, go back through the records, like, oh Jesus, I have to listen to this idiot's podcast, Will.
It's gonna be like a rainy night, and you're gonna be a mummy fossil, and you're just gonna get a manila envelope with just this episode in it.
Yeah.
All my friends and loved ones, this is an audio clip of me saying I want to be mummified. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, I swear this is the last sidetrack. But have you heard of the mellified man?
Yeah, I've heard of the mellified man.
It's the worst thing. Meg, have you heard of the mellified man?
I don't think I have.
Which one of us should have described this? I don't know if I...
You I think you'd probably do better.
Okay, basically, I think it's like a method of preservation where before someone dies, they, like, plan to die, and they just eat nothing but honey, and then they get, like, preserved in honey. I have
heard of this. Good. I was just gonna bring this up. I didn't know that was what it was called.
As, like, a medicine or something?
That's so gross! I know that there are, like, monks that'll do that.
Like, I hate to be culturally insensitive, but that's not good, friends.
Cannibalism is frowned upon in most societies.
No, it's very creepy.
Everything in this room is eatable. Even I'm eatable.
So they leave the museum because they see Ahmed chasing them. Like, they get weird vibes, and they see that.
Well, I mean, of course they get weird vibes. They meet this guy in a spooky tomb, and he's just, like, staring at them, and just is completely deadpan when he speaks to them. And he has the really gross ponytail slick back situation. Yeah. Sorry if you have a ponytail, but you know what I mean? Just, that's a bad look for anybody. If you don't want to be a villain, you're sending the wrong message.
Don't have a ponytail.
So they start running, and because they got little children legs, they finally get tired, and Ahmed catches up to them, and he's like, I was just trying to get you guys, because, you know, your uncle who need us to Hey, you wanna follow me to my white van with windows that don't exist?
Even worse though, it's like a station wagon.
Yeah.
Like a beat up station wagon.
No,
Like as well.
It's a mom station wagon.
Oh,
He might as well call it like the creeper mobile. Like
The creeper mobile.
like this guy with a greasy ponytail driving a station wagon with screaming children is like the worst image. But of course, all of these people driving by,
Straight
and
creeping.
he has just like fuzzy dice on them.
And they're like, no, I think we should, it's close enough that we can walk. No, I'll give you guys a ride. It's a lot faster than the 2 blocks it would take you guys to
They could just
walk.
run.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't just run.
And they're just like, no, because they have the moment where they think about, this is stranger danger, because that's what McGruff told us. But because we're stupid, we'll just go with him.
Take a bite out of crime.
yep.
Don't bite out of him, because then that's cannibalism. Don't do that.
I don't know. Like, I don't get why they don't trust him at first, and then they're like, okay. And then they're like, I don't know about this whole car
Well,
thing.
that's because he probably, pulled out, a puppy, and, you guys would, pet my puppy?
But also, they don't speak Arabic. So they would be more likely to trust
I
somebody
think
who
that's
can speak
kind of-
English.
No, they specifically say that at the museum the lady spoke perfect English. I want to say, though, there's a lot of moments where people just, let kids do whatever they want, where it's like they just walk into the museum and they're like, where's the mummy wing? And they're like, okay, children, this way, by yourselves. Like, they never even question it. There's even, a moment where, no, even before that, they ask, the front desk people at the hotel, hey, where's the museum? And they're like, it's this way. And they have no discernible adult near them. And they're just like, okay, I'm going to give you directions to this place so you can get farther away from where your parents are expecting you to
Yeah.
be.
I don't know. Maybe because this is set in the same series of Unfortunate Events universe where children rule the world and adults are stupid.
I think it's a very similar universe. There was definitely moments where I was
Yeah.
reminded of that, especially the dude with the ponytail, because he's very Olaf henchman.
I feel like, okay, his shtick in series of Unfortunate Events is he just has a grossly large ponytail.
Yeah. Oh, and he uses it as a whip, like the Tagliatelle Grande or whatever.
Yeah.
Just he uses it as a lasso.
So
Oh God.
So they get into the car and he starts driving the opposite direction, but our hotel room's the other way. Oh, I know a shortcut. So they start driving and Gabe's just like, this isn't right at all. So he nonchalantly puts a seatbelt on and whispers into Sari's ear, when he stops, let's jump.
He's the worst kidnapper in the world.
Yeah.
He doesn't put on the children locks. That's how poorly thought out was your plan that you're like, they won't know how to work car doors.
This is like the aliens from Science where they don't know how to work wooden doors.
His one weakness is locks. He doesn't understand how they work.
So they jump out and they start booking it and they think that he might be chasing them. And then they get into another cab and they're like, take us to the hotel. And the guy just starts laughing maniacally.
This weirded me out so much.
First of all, this dude, this cab driver, what is wrong with you? It's the creepiest reaction.
Well, that's because, you know what the first thing I thought of was,
Is he
it
just
was
high?
this creepy guy from Series of Unfortunate Events who's the cab driver.
There's a couple creepy cab drivers, aren't there?
Which one? Because there's
If I
three.
remember.
Okay, the one from the Penultimate Peril.
Okay, that one.
Yeah.
He's like, you need a left, and then, Lemony Snicket's like, if they got into the cab, it would have been another $13. Except we have another, 62 to go in here.
It's just a weird reaction from this dude. I can't imagine a world in which it would be normal to laugh at a couple children who are obviously lost and upset and confused about what's going on, and he just kind of cackles, and he's like, oh, the hotel's right there. But okay, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because the kids notice that they're driving far away from the hotel and that, the buildings start to look different, but then the hotel's right there.
Well, maybe because they did book it. They probably kept running until happenstance occurred.
Did they run that far?
Yeah. Yeah, they spend a lot of time trying to navigate the streets.
Well, I would imagine, okay, if you're being kidnapped and you're able to get out, I'm pretty sure your adrenaline would be like, bye.
And
I'm gonna
then
hit
they
the
just,
Speed Force.
booked it across. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I can't help but think about how much of this would be avoided if they had smartphones. There's so much of this book that would be completely bypassed if they had smartphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, until you figure out that they didn't pay for the international internet bill.
Or just
and they
any
don't.
kind of map
that's
at
true.
all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But if they had Egyptian SIM cards in their smartphones that you could buy at any airport these days, Anyway, so they go back to Uncle Ben. He tells them about how his workers are, like, paralyzed by shock.
Because death is funny, kids.
Is this a necessary bit of information? He could just say, oh, they're sick.
Well, he did dress up like a mummy to scare his nephew, so obviously...
But he's, like, concerned, though. Like, he's not trying to play a prank on these kids. He's just, like, being, like, I don't know. He's not trying to be a jerk. He's accidentally being a jerk in this scenario.
No, but I'm just saying that he has no problem scaring kids.
He's like, I need to go to the, pyramid... No, is it? Yeah, he needs to go to the pyramids again for some weird reason. And that you kids need to stay into this hotel room and just don't lock the doors or anything.
First,
I'll be back.
They told him they were kidnapped, and the first thing he decides to do
is leave.
Is go back to the pyramids to figure out what's going on with these random workers he has no attachment to, instead of the children who were kidnapped. You might want to take them to the police, tell them about what happened.
Sari brings up a very good point. She says, Daddy, what if Ahmed comes back? Sari cried, sounding really frightened. What if he comes here? And Uncle Ben scowled. Ahmed, he muttered. Ahmed.
He's like, oh, right, yes. The kidnapper.
That's
of course.
Not an answer.
Like, why do you care more about these, like, petrified rando workers that you have than children? I just, like, there's so many moments where I just don't get the logic of what's going on in this guy's brain. By the way, they don't ever totally explain the why they're that freaked out thing. That they are, like, frozen in shock. Like, that's... He goes back and then finds out some spooky stuff, but, like, that doesn't really fix the ailment that these people have. It's just sort of a useless...
Well, they fix the situation by saying, we're just all gonna go with you because that's a lot safer than being here and getting kidnapped for the 4th time.
And he gives them a beeper.
Yeah, he gives them a beeper, so in case they get lost in the pyramids, it would start beeping, so if they were, like, in a chamber that couldn't open up again, they would, suffocate and die, and he would at least know.
There's Chekhov's untied shoe, and the kid... gets stuck behind. Like, yep. R.L. Stine, like, yep. really does not trust you to notice anything at all. He has to, like, mention it so many times.
That's very true.
No, actually, I felt like in this book, they would, maybe because we were reading the Undead Express, but he set things up that actually paid off at the end of the book. At least in this one, there was a setup and there was at least a payoff with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Undead Express, there was nothing. And also, compared to, say, Cheese and Die, where they hit you over the head with it. Like, every 10 seconds, it's like, but what if it was the camera? Yeah, so this is more subtle than that.
But just every time they talked about his untying shoe, like, it didn't even make any sense. He's like, I double knot it and it still unties. It's like, is your shoe cursed? Like, there's only so terrible a shoelace you could have. Like,
this is Curse of the Mummies 2, not Curse of the Mummy's shoe.
Oh my god. This takes place during the age of, like, Super Nintendo, so why doesn't this kid just have Velcro shoes? Like, Velcro light-up shoes like every other cool kid. That would also solve the problem of the Dark Tomb.
See, then that would have been so helpful in, like, this pyramid, like, just having, like, a sketches in his Heelys, so he could, like, glide past the mummies.
And with the lights, then you could see where he is. A good pair of shoes would have solved most of the problems.
So... they go back to the pyramids, and of course, the shoelace happens, and he gets left behind, and he takes a step, and he falls through a hole. Like, it made no sense. Like, he just fell. Like, the floor fell, he ended up in an ancient mummy burial chamber, where they would perform the rites.
And it smells really gross.
And all the mummies are standing.
Bad smell.
You know what we should go to? We should go to a mummies exhibit.
And they'd be like, who are these weird people?
Yeah!
Why are you
here? This would end up being like a Portlandia skit. And we'd be like, oh, I want that one. What are you talking about? How much is for the dead person? We want to use him for carpooling.
Okay, did you guys know about mummy powder?
Oh, yeah. Let you snort. Basically, you take bumps of it and you live forever.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That was a thing that people did for fun in Victorian times. They would take, because everyone was obsessed with mummies. So what, people would sell ground up mummies. That's terrible. And it was supposed to be some kind of...
I mean, they used to make, there's like mummy brown, which it was like a paint pigment made from mummies. Yeah, and like my sister didn't believe it. She was like, no, it wasn't real people. I'm like, it was real people. They made it out of real people. I don't know why they thought it was like the only way they could find that specific shade of brown is grind up dead people. Like, surely they wanted to troubleshoot other things first.
Well, also they had paint with both arsenic and lead, so why not?
You know, if you want to die double fast.
Also, makeup had arsenic in it too. So theater makeup, if you put too much on, it would kill you.
Yep. And lead.
Would drive you raving mad.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with this
I'm pretty sure lead was in, like, absolutely everything once upon a time. They just sprinkled it in for good luck.
Also, people used to breathe in mercury to cure brain fever.
Which is kind of really the opposite of what you need. Yeah, exactly.
The opposite of what it does.
I used to live near this city named Danbury, and it's known for, like, a long time ago, people would make hats there, and the way that they made hats was with mercuric acid, which gave people mercury poisoning.
That's the origin of the Mad Hatter. That's where Lewis Carroll got the idea.
That's the origin of the Mad Hatter, and that's why, and the phrase, the Danbury Shakes, was a thing, because a lot of people had mercury poisoning making hats. And to this day, people call it Hat City. Like, it's a very clever, cute name for the place, and I'm just like, people died. They had horrible diseases.
That's so
it's
funny.
It's not cute.
Yeah, and if you hear any noise, my mom's just turned the TV on.
Speaking of mummies, yeah.
Where there's actually dead people, and they're all standing up and like, what's going on? Why is there a vat of bubbling tar?
It's just kind of chilling.
No, but it's still sticky. Because he makes a point. He like wonders why it's still soft.
Oh, why is it still soft?
How could this tar pit be soft after 4,000 years? And 4,000 years is italicized, so I just imagined it in the voice of the genie from Aladdin. 4,000 years!
I like how you both had to do that. It was just, in your contract.
We've got a degree of synchronicity after doing this show for a long time.
True.
Yeah, and then he tries to beep. He tries
to call him, beep him if you want to reach him.
Get onto Uncle Bet. Exactly. I was trying to find a way to say that. You saved it. Call him, beep him any way you need him. What's the sitch? Yep. The communicator. Which, when you think about it, is just like a proto-iPhone.
The radio waves, the closer you get to it, the more annoying it starts beeping. It's just a receiver.
No, I mean, not beepers. The Kim Possible's communicator.
Oh yeah, the Kim Possible was just a phone. Yeah. It was a BlackBerry, yeah, because it had keys.
Yeah, well, it did. It looked exactly like a BlackBerry, didn't it?
I'm pretty sure BlackBerries were a thing already, though, so they were just like, let's change what a BlackBerry is, and give it a different name.
Make it a white berry.
Let's just make it better. It was blue, so it was blueberry.
That's not even... Okay.
Oh, I want a boysenberry.
Yeah. So, I love the line, I stared in horror at the worthless beeper.
You mean every beeper?
Like, okay, so what I thought of with that is, like, he's on his knees, holding it as it's crumbling in his hands, like, come back!
I couldn't believe he gave him a beeper, because that, like, took too much forethought for, like, what we've established these characters can, like, express, because...
Well, I mean, it was either that or they tie a rope to him, like a child leash.
The weird thing is, like...
Just a bit of red string.
Gabe keeps pointing out all of the plot holes, and it doesn't make it any less weird. He's like, it's really weird how my uncle kept talking about how we have to stay close, and then he wandered away and just, like, didn't notice that I wasn't with him, and it's just like, you notice that's weird, but I also notice that's weird, and it's never quite explained.
This is weird. So then what ends up happening is that Sari comes for some weird reason, like, oh, you're not lost, I'm the one that found you, now we're both lost. Like, she's like, you're able to find, like, this burial chamber. That's really cool. Well, everyone's going to know that I'm the one that found you. No, I'm pretty sure the goddamn history book is going to be like, yeah, this kid found this.
Yeah, is that before or after the Scorpions?
That's after. Okay, that's
after the Scorpions.
So, Gabe steps back and he hears a crunch, and he looks down, and there's scorpions.
Oh no!
I thought it was gonna be scarabs because I feel like that's like the go-to spooky.
Well, this was okay. If
like,
this was written after the Brendan Fraser mummy, yes, there would have been scarabs.
Yeah, scarabs aren't poisonous though.
Yeah, but they're creepy and they're old-timey sounding. They're very biblical sounding,
Egyptian-y. Yeah, because as
like I'm pretty sure everyone knows what a scorpion looks like because it's just a nightmare lobster.
It is a nightmare lobster.
It's just a scary little lobster.
It's like a goth lobster.
The one dangerous animal that we don't have in Australia, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we have a bunch of scorpions over
really?
here.
Yeah, I don't think we have scorpions here. I think they're like they're more Asia and America.
The scorpions showed up in Australia and they were like, nope, too dangerous. And then they left.
The spiders fought them off. So, B, there's another line in here that supports your theory that this is him as an adult. I don't think I'll ever forget that crunching sound. See?
So we know it's sometime in the future, but like when, I don't really know. Because the language sounds relatively articulate, but there's also some weird things that doesn't sound like an adult.
Maybe he's like 15.
So he's like, I remember when I was 12, I'm 15 now, so aged and learned.
No. Oh my god, because there's a line in this book where it's like, we're 12 years old, not babies.
Yeah, that's very, have you ever seen the movie, Halloween Town, where she's like,
yes.
I'm 13, I'm all grown up now.
And then we just look at ourselves now. I'm sorry, child, but do you know what a tax sheet is? And she looks at you, no. Do you know what being dependent is? No. Get spooked.
Yeah.
Be very spooked. So then Amen comes down and he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you guys now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That big plot twist, everybody. The kidnapper with the greasy hair and the scary face and the deadpan voice. Yeah. He's a murderer.
But it's not that. He's not just going to murder the shit out of them. He's going to mummify the shit out of them.
I bet you're wondering how I got here.
Because apparently he is the protector of the priestess of Kala, which they never talk about at all.
Wait, do they?
No.
Okay, I feel like they said something about that name in regards to the pyramid. But it wasn't the priestess.
I don't know. Well, it was like a one-off thing, but then the rest of this thing is like,
it was a one-off thing.
How dare you? I'm gonna now mummify you like I've murdered the shit out of these other people.
And then there's the whole villain speech trope, which is just like
monologuing.
Why do you need to explain this to the children?
How else does he monologue?
He has to give us the exposition that makes sense why he's trying to murder these kids. And I predicted it. I had a feeling that's why he was kidnapping them to begin with.
To give him a monologue, I felt like he was going to give like a step-by-step process. First I'm going to do is tie you to this table. Then I'm going to get these prongs and shove them up your nose. And
oh god.
Yeah,
take the brain. Actually, yeah, you put it up there and like you jiggle it around till like your brain is mush.
Guys, when you were in primary school, did you ever do an exercise where you were learning about ancient Egypt and they got you to they got like an uncooked chicken from the grocery store and you had to mummify it?
No.
I wish.
Oh, my school did
That's
that.
definitely not a thing that happened at my school. If only because they wouldn't want to spring like the money to get some chicken breast.
It sounds like
I'm pretty sure.
They're already doing some foul play. They just don't want to, do some foul play.
Oh.
I actually took a forensics class in high school. And it was kind of the best, but also the worst. Like, it was very interesting, but there was this one lab we were supposed to do that was going to be about blowflies and, like the different levels of their life cycle and, like, judging how long something had been, like, deteriorating outside.
Oh, my soul just left my body.
It was gross. But there was, like, bad weather or something, so it, like, messed up all the samples that, like, my teacher had set out, so we didn't have to do the literal lab with the flies, and we just had to, like, do a PowerPoint or something, and I was so relieved. It was, oh my god.
I got to dissect a fertile pig. That was the coolest thing I've ever had to dissect in my life. It was gross though.
I also got to dissect a fetal pig as well. But the difference is my pig, for some reason, had something wrong with it on the inside. I didn't even dissect it. I just had this other kid do it because I was like, I can't do this. This is not a thing I want to do.
The schools here never do like the full animal. We always, our dissections where we did, we never did the full animal here. It was always like an eye or a heart only because I guess they didn't, want to go out and buy a bunch of fetal pigs. They just went to the butchers and were like, give us all of your offcuts and we'll get the kids to cut that up.
I know you guys are going to use that for your hot dog meat, but can you give those like eyeballs and lungs?
Yeah.
So as, Amen's completely monologuing exactly what we said the entire time. He's talking about him dissecting things and becoming more, wanting to murder more people.
Yes.
He's probably related to like both Richard Chase and Richard Ramirez and Jeffrey Dahmer. But
I get that he has like this motivation or whatever, that it's like he's a part of this family and for centuries they've been doing this and stuff. But even though that he has this whole monologue thing, he doesn't really sell why he cares about it. I don't know. He just has like no personality.
Yeah.
No, and then
he's like, this is my family. I don't know. He's like a robot. It just doesn't.
This is the thing we do.
Ha ha.
It just seemed really weird and stilted. Like he doesn't really. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is how I consume my bloodlust. Ha ha. But then Uncle Ben comes down and he's like, hey, stop that. Don't mummify my children. I think that one isn't my child, but
my nephew, daughters, my daughter, nephew, children's.
So it's a really weird family. So then they get into a knife fight where Uncle Ben loses. I think he gets stabbed? Question mark?
Wait, does he get... No, he doesn't get stabbed. He gets hit in the head.
No, but he gets blood. There's blood in this.
No. He gets hit in the head with the torch.
Well, he also apparently he has a knife out, but they still describe that he has blood and stuff.
He has a dagger.
Yeah.
He has a dagger out, just being... Which, of course, like, at first I was like, who has a dagger? Like, if this guy had a gun, this would be over much quicker. But then again, of course, the spooky guy who, like, wants to avenge some sort of ancient Egyptian curse is gonna have a dagger. That's gonna be his aesthetic, is he's, gonna keep his dagger.
Yeah, the human sacrifice aesthetic.
And it also has to be, like, decorative. I bet it has, like, some sort of, like, spooky writing on it.
The
like,
Eye of Horus.
Yeah.
I know
it's
exactly.
Probably made of obsidian.
Exactly. It's like a real old-timey dagger.
It's been passed down for generations to generations.
Okay, so there's like this moment where he takes the torch and hits Ben in the head with it. And they say that he just got hit in the head and that he doesn't get set on fire, but I misread that as he got set on fire. So I was like, they light him on fire? Like, I screamed. Because I just misread like one word.
My sound cut out for like a minute there, so it went from you saying it's been passed down from, and then it goes to B saying caught on fire.
Okay, so he doesn't get set on fire, so he just throws him in a sarcophagus?
No, he sets the tar pit on fire.
Okay, wait, let me see. I want to find the exact line, because it's like very easy to confuse where he hits Ben in the head. I like how Uncle Ben is like, we're scientists. Ahmed, you are a scientist. From scientist to scientist. Like, stop it. Like, this is not gonna work. This man is trying to avenge a blood oath he made to his family that stretches back generations. And you're trying to be like, you're a scientist. Like, shut up. This is the stupidest argument.
Yeah, that was... And he's like, let's just talk it out, scientist to scientist. And then Ahmed just clocks him with the torch. And that just made me think of the scene in SpongeBob where Patrick's like, SpongeBob, we don't have to do it like this. We're civilized people. We have technology. And then he just beats the thing with the computer.
No, I feel like this is like he's been possessed by like a mummy. You're a scientist. Use science to defeat this mummy.
Okay, so yeah, here's the phrase. Without warning, without a word, he pulled back his arms and gripping the torch handle with both hands, swung it hard as he could at Uncle Ben's head. The torch made a loud thunk as it connected with the side of Uncle Ben's face. Swung as hard as he could at Uncle Ben's head. The torch made a loud thunk noise as it connected with the side of Uncle Ben's face. The orange flames danced up, a swirl of bright color, and then shadows. Uncle Ben groaned, his eyes bulged wide with surprise, with pain. The torch hadn't set him aflame. What I read that as was the torch had set him aflame, and the blow knocked him out. Which is like...
So add insult to injury?
At first I thought this dude was just setting their uncle ablaze, which is kind of a lot, but you know what? Considering what happens next, I wouldn't be surprised.
Ahmed puts Gabe into a coffin, or a sarcophagus, and Ben in a different sarcophagus, and they're like stuck in the sarcophagus, and like, oh no, we're gonna suffocate. Sorry's like, I was gonna turn us into a mummy before we suffocate. How?
Which, thanks for the optimism.
So thanks, and then like they lean back and they feel something. They're not sure. It's a mummy, right? Nope, Uncle Ben.
Because everybody knows every sarcophagi has a secret trapdoor. That's what every Egyptologist knows.
To let the spooky spirits out.
Yeah. Can we get an Egyptologist to, like, confirm this for us?
Okay, I bet if an Egyptologist read this book, they might actually literally die. It would just be physically painful for every fiber of their being.
Egyptologists were just like, F this, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be able to get through this. And it's not a long book, but...
No, it's pretty much like Moby Dick at this point. It's long and painful to read.
Just every word of lies and misinformation.
What? Yeah. So what happens is they get out of the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get out when Ahmed turns around, like they're trying to like sneak out on their tippy toes. And he's like, foolish fool. And I guess they have another tussle. And they drop the torch into the bubbling tar now.
Sets ablaze.
And they have to now wait for the tar to settle before he can start murdering them. So it's like the guys just like have like an awkward like, so I'm going to kill you guys. You guys want to go out for pizza afterwards?
But it needs to heat up. He's like waiting for his pizza rolls to heat up. He's like, do you guys want to play some board games?
Hey, sorry about the whole killing you thing, but I took this blood oath and, gotta keep my family happy.
I don't know. He's like kind of a boring villain. I don't feel like he has any personality whatsoever. Like, he's creepy. He kidnaps children and he's a serial killer in the most literal sense. Like, he embalmed a bunch of people alive because they were like in this pyramid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that's about as close to a serial killer as you can get.
Then what happens is Gabe pulls out his mummy hand because he likes to fiddle with it.
His mummy hand.
It starts glowing.
That he got at the garage sale.
And then a bunch of the mummies start coming to life. And they're like, eh.
Finally, you guys. Some live mummies.
It's the last chapter of this book.
I know. Oh, this killed me.
And they don't do anything cool because doesn't Amen just walk away?
Okay, they do something cool.
What?
They do pick him up at one point, which is awesome.
Mummy, smash!
And threaten him to... they threaten to throw him in the tar, and then I don't know what happens between them lifting him up and threatening to throw him in the tar, and, like, the next couple sentences, because then it's described as him getting away. So I just, like... It's a shitty jump cut, basically.
It's the bad edit of books.
It's like a Neil Breen movie.
Because that's all you want, is for this terrible, irritating, greasy villain to be thrown into the burning tar pit. And then he pieces out, and that's, like, the end. Like, that's how you're gonna wrap it up, so to speak.
Don't they get, like, pizza? Like, the ending is just, they get pizza in the hotel room, and then they hear shuffling in the hotel room. And then they look at just Gabe's mom and dad, and they just wave, and then it just cuts to black.
I'll bet they were surprised at how glad I was to see them.
Yes, and
what about the guy? The guy who was murdering people? Like,
the guy that kidnapped you?
Not even like a one-sentence throwaway thing of like, and then we called the police, and he's still on the loose, or they captured him and his accomplices, or whatever, but like... He just leaves, and that's like...
There's a sequel to this book.
Yes, The Return of the Mummy.
So maybe we find out then.
We'll find out eventually. Maybe he is a mummy.
It just seems very weird that they don't even mention anything about it. Like, at the very least, they could be like, and then he got away, or something.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I feel like... It's just...
it's stupid.
I don't know. It's just a really bad ending.
It's just, like, they just wrap it up so
okay, because it's literally
weirdly.
The last chapter of this book. The ending is literally less than a paragraph. And they all lived happily ever after.
But they didn't. Like, there's still a guy who's mummifying people, like, chilling.
Yeah.
He's on the streets. Yeah. He could be kidnapping children right this second, and you're just like, my kids are fine. Like...
Wow, guys, there's actually a white station wagon outside of my house right now.
Oh my god.
He wants you to come down. He's got this weird greasy ponytail and Crocs with socks.
Yeah, and on the side it's got free mummy hands.
Your Uncle Ben told me to meet you here. I don't have an Uncle Ben.
It's fine. It's fine.
Like, I just, like, imagine
you do.
He pulls up to like a house and he knocks on the door. It's Peter Parker. Your Uncle Ben sent me.
My Uncle Ben is dead. Get out.
Oh my god, I really hope that this is a part of the extended Spider-Man universe. Like, they all have the same Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben didn't die, he actually just became, like, a mummy scientist and started a new family.
A mumologist?
A mumologist.
Is that a thing? That can't be a thing. Mumologist? That's not a real word.
No, I think it's just called an Egyptologist.
Egyptologist.
So, Zach, do you wanna go into this like educational section at the back of the book with me? Because you and I think, have the same copy this time.
We can go. Actually, so we're gonna actually. The cool thing about the new editions of these Goosebumps books is that they have like little sections where they do little games and stuff. So we could go through a couple of them. I think my favorite has always been the Q&A session with R.L. Stine.
Well, you can read that one, and I'll read top 10 things from mummies' tombs.
Archaeologists have discovered a lot of surprising objects inside mummies' tombs. What would you want inside your tomb? R.L. Stine. A door so I can get out? Do you believe in curses? Have you ever worried about being cursed? R.L. Stine. No, I'm not superstitious at all. And so far, I've been very lucky. Knock on wood. Do you remember the first Mummy movie you watched as a kid? Do you have an all-time favorite? Oh, this is my favorite. The first Mummy movie I had seen, probably still my favorite, is called Abbott and Costello Meets the Mummy. That's actually one of my favorite Mummy movies. My brother and I used to love to watch old movies on TV starring Abbott and Costello. They made a lot of funny movies and we liked them all. But this one best combined crazy comedy with horror. That could be crazy but mostly made me laugh. The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb contains a lot of blah blah blah. That's just excerpt. But yeah, no, actually a lot of the Abbott and Costello monster movies are connected to the cool thing about the classic Universal monster movies is they were actually the first movies in the 40s to have a cinematic universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So and Abbott and Costello was actually bridged the end of the gap with that.
So they're all connected. They're all in the same.
Yeah, Monster Mash movies.
Because they all had they all had these movies that were like Dracula fights the Wolfman, Frankenstein fights the Mummy.
But the weird thing though about it is they're also these sequels for the Wolfman movies. Like it's kind of like Thor Ragnarok now and Hulk story. It's exactly like that now. It's kind of weird. It's weird parallels. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. So anyway, we got this other section in here. Top 10 weirdest items found in a mummy's tomb. Mummies were buried with all sorts of objects that ancient Egyptians believed they could use in the afterlife. Here are a few of the craziest. Food and drinks, including preserved meats, grain, and fruits, so the mummy would have something to eat on the journey to the afterlife. Many mummies had gameboys to entertain themselves with. False fingers and toes protected, you guessed it, the mummy's real fingers and toes.
Oh my god.
The Book of the Dead was required reading for any mummy. I actually have a copy of it somewhere. I found it at a museum, I think, and I bought it. It's like a Penguin Classics version of the Book of the Dead, which is weird.
That is weird.
Usually written on a papyrus scroll, acted as a guide to the afterlife. False doors, simulated windows, and other decorations from the royal palace were installed into the pharaoh Zoser's tomb. Oh, sorry, my dog is barking.
So wait, is the Book of the Dead sort of like the book in Beetlejuice, like for the recently deceased?
Yeah, it is. It is basically the handbook for the recently deceased because it explains like the whole thing of the Book of the Dead is it's just like an explanation of the journey from like through the afterlife into heaven. Or, to get your soul eaten by Amit the Devourer, which was
I don't really get why
thing.
they need, like, instructions if they're so, like, devout that they're being mummified. Like, wouldn't you know the story by heart?
Well, see, because when you're a mummy, your brain gets taken out, so you forget everything.
Oh, you forget everything. You know what?
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
you don't have a brain.
So, actually, we're going to bring back a little thing I totally forgot about, but now, luckily, people have been reminding me. Thank you, listeners. What is the most scariest thing about this book?
The scariest thing.
I say kidnapping. The kidnapping is probably...
The kidnapping. Or, I don't know, the threatening to throw them into some tar? That's pretty...
Yeah, the idea of being mummified while you're still alive is pretty horrible, too.
And, like, the fact that they kind of accepted their death at one point, where they're just, like, in the tomb, inside that coffin. They're like,
sarcophagus,
we're gonna die.
If I remember correctly, being mummified alive is one of the world's basically worst disrespects in Egyptian culture, because you didn't technically die, you were basically being punished for the rest of your life. So this is the part of the episode where we're going to pick the book for next week, and this week we're going to be reading a Fear Street book.
I'm rubbing my hands together.
It is R.L. Stine's Halloween Night. Trick or treat.
Ooh.
The trick is not to die. So... B, thanks for being on the show. It was a lot of fun to have you with a lot of chills and thrills.
I had a lot of fun. A lot of trills and thrills.
A lot of chills and thrills.
A lot of fake out mummies, a lot of real mummies. But the real mummy was the friends we had along the way.
I think you're going to say that the mummy that was inside us the whole time was like, get it out.
Yeah.
Set free your inner mummy.
You guys, you have a skeleton inside your body right this second.
Get it out. I don't want it.
That's so scary.
I think that's kind of scary.
You gotta mummify me alive.
Well, I mean, like, Meg just turns, like, she just sheds her mortal form and she's just a reptile.
Yep, that is true of all Australians, really.
Well, how do you think they're the lizards?
That's how we survive.
The lizard people, they're trying to take over the government.
They can find me on twinpoetry.tumblr.com, where I do all sorts of update things about podcasting stuff. Unfortunate Associates, I'm sure we'll have an episode out eventually in our busy schedules. I'm feeling a little vaguely guilty about our infrequent upload schedule. And yeah, I have a little bit of another podcast in the works with my friend Sarah. That is a ways in the future, but, you know, just follow me on Tumblr and you'll get an update about that, and we'll figure it out together.
So, Meg, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter at MegTuten, that's at MEGTUTEN. I'm also sodasodabanana.tumblr.com, and if you want to listen to my other podcast, which is called The Trivial Terror Show, you can search for The Trivial Terror Podcast on iTunes.
You can find me at Suda41, or you can email the show at nightmarefearstreet@gmail.com. If you want to follow our Twitter, that's at nightfearstreet. If you want to support us on Patreon just for $1 a day, you can help us, you know, find a mummy and perform burial rites.
Yes.
So that's actually at nightmareinfearstreet.patreon.com. Well, I'm Zack.
I'm Meg.
And I'm B.
And stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.